like slurring.
Yes, this is the show where we take one of Cambridge's finest minds and get them drunk to the blurred degree.
And this week we have Benjamin Gibson, who is a historian from Peterhouse.
This is Benjamin. Ben is in his second year studying history at Peterhouse College, Cambridge.
However, Benjamin has described himself as academically promiscuous, and so might be studying literally anything by the time you watch this video.
Yes, and he has decided to come on the show because he believes that having a video of him drunk on the internet may open some exciting new career prospects for him.
Let's see how that pans out.
So we're going to start with our first round of questions. The basic principle is, if you get it wrong, you drink. If you get it right, I drink.
I shouldn't have been drinking so far.
Okay, so our first round is information inebriation. I've already explained this. How much have I had?
You okay?
Yeah, how much?
No, I'm really glad it's you this time.
Yeah.
In 1877,
Right.
the first practical sound recording was made, and the song that was recorded is still a hit to this day.
Oh, it was.
Shit.
No. It wasn't. Was it Happy Birthday? It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Great!
Oh.
It was Mary Had a
Mary Had a
Little
Little Lamb was my second guess. You said charts.
Lamb.
You said charts. I was going to say Mary Had a Little Lamb.
We said it's still a hit. We
Oh,
did not say the word
okay.
sharp.
Mary
Had a
Happy
Little Lamb.
Birthday is really good logic to that question.
No, the 1877 recording is still on a like a
big pot.
wax tube. So,
Yeah.
it's.
It was
yeah.
who bonus question, who recorded it?
I will know this the minute you say his name.
Thomas Edison.
I was going to say, isn't it on what? Who invented the machine on which it was recorded?
The phonograph.
Drink. Sorry, that's not how this game
Is
works.
She shot herself in the foot there.
Next up, which of these are the actual nicknames of kings as opposed to names that Arthur has simply made up?
Fantastic.
First of all, beer jug. Is that a real name or is that a name that Arthur made up?
Beer jug. That could be Viking. There were fork beards. There were blood axes.
That's cool.
So are you going with a?
Do you know what? Yeah, fine.
Yeah, that was real.
That was real.
John the First, the Elector of Saxony, was
right.
beer jug John.
Which isn't really.
John.
It's not very Viking.
The broad-shouldered.
Like me.
That's true.
Yeah, that
That one
was
is
Haakon
true.
the Second of Norway.
On the second of Norway.
The bland.
That is true.
That is false.
That's not. I'm sure that's true.
I mean, I didn't go and double check.
We did
these,
check this, but
You get.
I would have made that one up.
Well, I was looking at Olivia, so it's the first thing that came to my head.
Okay.
Oh wow! So you are mean to me. I say this every episode.
I always deny it.
The frog-legged.
Now there is some contention over this one.
Is there?
In that case, neither.
I think. Here's the question: do you think I made it up?
New.
Well, he did.
I
so
did make
true.
it up. But also,
Like that
apparently,
Someone with written
there is a prince who may have gone on to be king. We're not sure. Who Queen
Elizabeth the
Elizabeth the First referred to as
And
the
you just
frog
know
leg.
this. Yes. Right.
No further comments at this time.
The impotent.
I'm saying true to all of them because there's some really weird ones out there.
Yeah.
There
That
are
one is real.
Henry the Fourth of Castile
Henry IV of
was the
Castile.
impotent.
Oh right, so I thought you were asking me if that was a real.
No.
The fourth. That's no. What did he do to us?
Not a nickname.
No.
And finally, the unwitting painter.
I want that to be real so badly that I'm happy to drink.
Well, I
Arthur
up.
made that up.
I have to say, I was very proud.
Unwitting painter. What would he be painting unwittingly in this hypothetical game?
Kings don't really paint, do they? They get painted.
Some do.
I like to think it was metaphorical painting.
Ah.
You know, like he was unwittingly painting his kingdom in a bad light to other kingdoms. You know,
Yeah.
everyone didn't like England because of him, and he didn't know.
Severe bollocks.
Question 3. The handshake is an ancient tradition. What was the original reason for it?
Would it be something like to ensure that the other person wasn't reaching for their weapon, or is that apocryphal?
Drink.
Daisy's show
Yeah.
they run up. I knew this one. This one was too easy.
All right. It's the
Wait,
same
is
reason.
that-
It's the same reason why people salute now.
Yes.
Well, the
That's
people-
what I told you.
Is this turning into trivia now, or? It's the same reason you bow is because originally you were exposing the back of your neck,
Ah.
so that it's sort of like, all right, I submit myself. If you want, take a punt. Here's my neck. In the British Army, you salute, and the Air Force, you salute like that. In the Navy, you salute like that. Originally, you saluted with your forelock, but they used to look like I say far too much about this. Because it was when soldiers were on parade in the age of Queen Victoria, they had massively grubby hands, and so rather than show them their grubby palms,
So time for a bit of maths. If you take their Henry, who was crowned at 9 months,
okay,
add him to their Henry, that was the first king since the Norman conquest to be a native English speaker,
okay,
and take away from that their Henry that rode his horse so frequently that he was bow-legged, which Henry do you get? And what's an interesting fact about that Henry?
I am singing to myself in my head the horrible histories, kings and queens. I'm going to say Henry V.
Five.
Henry V.
hours.
No.
Nah, fourth.
Henry the Eighth.
Eighth. Is Henry the Eighth?
You end up.
Okay, yes. Okay.
So you get Henry the Sixth plus Henry the Fourth.
Okay.
Take away Henry the Second.
Second. Okay, you get Henry the Eighth. And an interesting fact about Henry the Eighth. Henry the Eighth. Interesting fact about Henry the Eighth is he was actually, despite being the person who started, basically kicked off the Protestant Reformation big time in England, he was actually a Catholic.
Oh.
Basically all the way
Yes. But he wanted to divorce.
through.
Yes.
He just wanted to divorce. He actually wrote
When you were a king.
a document in defence of the Pope. It's the reason why the monarch to this day has the title Defender of the Faith.
Oh.
It's not the Protestant faith at all, it's not the Church of England. It came about because the Pope gave it to Henry VIII for writing a tract which defended the Pope, and the Pope said, "Here, mate, take this. We're here to have fun and to learn." Cheers. Oh yeah, I got it wrong.
Yeah, you still fucked up.
Oh, straight down!
Ah!
Fun fact about the Defender of the Faith thing. A couple of years ago, Prince Charles got real woke and
Well,
decided
King
he
Charles
wanted
is
to be...
Defender of Faith.
Yeah, he wants to be Defender of Faith. Doesn't want to
Oh! Wait, Prince Charles?
Yeah.
So what?
Oh, he's never going to be king. As in, he's probably going to die before the Queen, because
Yeah.
she's immortal.
be king. Yeah,
Actually, interestingly, the Queen is immortal until proven otherwise.
that's true.
Until she dies.
We won't know.
Until she dies, we can't be sure the Queen's not immortal.
Well, we don't know who invented the fire hydrant because the patent was just
I know I do, it's,
patent. It was destroyed in a disastrous
It
event.
was Sir Anthony Fire Hydrant in 1753.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, we don't know who invented it because the patent was destroyed in a disastrous event.
What
What was the disastrous event?
The disastrous event was... don't know. Should we take a punt at the Great Fire of London?
I'm gonna give
Well,
you
it's
that.
a fire.
It was just a
It
fire.
was just a fire.
fire.
Just a fire.
I just said,
It's like-
I
the
thought
most
it would be a
horrific
trick
irony.
question,
were
but no.
patents a thing in 1666? Leave your answers in the comments. I got a really shilly out.
Please and thank yous cost nothing.
Please offer thank you. So, our MML participant sang the whole of the Horrible Histories King Charles II song
Okay,
at
that's good.
brunch the morning after when I was feeling a bit rough.
Yep.
As an actual history student, can you do any better?
I can sing the entirety, verse and chorus, all the Monarch's songs.
You have to now do it.
Do you want to
You
do it?
realise-
It's about
No,
4
not verse and chorus, just the last chorus.
It's about 4 minutes long.
Don't
Well, the start is just William.
And then
William
that's-
Hawkins.
Yeah.
William, Henry, Stephen, Henry, Richard, John.
Hey!
Henry, Edward, Edward, Stu, then 3 more Henry, John, our song. Edward, Richard III, Henry, Ed again. Mary, 1, good Queen Bess, Jimmy, Charles, and Charles again. James, Will, Mary, Anna, Gloria. George, Will, Victoria. Edward, George, 6th, then Queen Liz to complete the mix. Boom.
Well, does that mean
Yeah, that means you have to drink quite a lot.
You have to drink, yeah.
a lot?
I cannot guarantee you that Horrible Histories will not come up again. And I will not be like midway through the George IV song or something before you stop it.
Which is the George IV song?
What?
Is that the fourth
I
one?
am George
asked for it now.
IV, the Regent King, which means I was just standing in, acting king because my dad, George III, had gone barking mad. But no longer. Great palaces I did design. Buckingham was one of mine. It's breathtaking.
That is.
Actresses, duchesses, the great loves of my life. I'll stop.
Can you guess 3 of the top 10 words that are most commonly Googled alongside the word history in the US?
Of the US.
In the US.
In the US.
No, but like, History.
As in people in the US, what do they most commonly Google
no.
alongside
That was his
history?
first answer.
Of you.
Oh, I see.
I'm going to give you that.
That is correct.
US
I will
history
drink.
is correct, yes.
Channel.
Yeah.
Should we flatter ourselves and say British history?
No.
No.
You drink for that one.
Nobody cared.
Some of the top 10 words that are Googled alongside history in the US are world, US,
Oh, wow.
American,
World's a pretty
museum,
good one.
black,
No, but
natural, and channel.
You're counting US and American separately.
Yeah, they are two separate
They are
terms.
in the list of the
That's
top
true,
10.
actually.
So. But now we want to ask you the same question, but in the UK.
British.
No.
Does nobody care?
Drink.
Is it like, it's like, I don't know, Second World War, everyone knows that is...
No.
No.
Okay.
Drink.
Drink.
Oh god.
One more.
What do I do? Do I have to quaff the whole thing if I get all three of them wrong?
No, it's fine. It's like a bit X Factor. You know.
At Cambridge University is a great course and you should all do it. Is that what they say?
Oh no, that
No,
isn't
no, it's
actually.
not.
That was at the bottom.
History-
That was actually at the bottom of the
history
list.
degrees. Is it history?
No.
No.
So terms that were in the UK, if you
Okay.
remember. So in the US, terms that were found
Like
alongside history
world,
were
black,
world,
American,
US,
museum, channel, natural.
In the UK, words found alongside history were MOT, check, delete, search, clear, mine. Basically, and you know something. MOT comes up 5 times in the
Check
podcast.
MOT history.
MOT
Clear.
history, check MOT history, clear MOT history, MOT. It comes up so many times. I don't know what we have an obsession about.
I
with
don't know
MOTs.
I don't know if that disgusts me or makes me weirdly proud.
We are so proud
That's
of
a
our
British
MOTs.
tradition.
And yeah, really deleting our search history.
Yeah.
It matters to us.
Okay, next question.
Sorry.
You have 30 seconds to describe the events of and leading up to the Falklands War.
Oh god, okay.
Go!
So, 1982? No, that's probably wrong. There's military junta in power in Argentina. Argentina and Britain have been scrabbling over the Falklands Islands for the best part of 400 years. There was like a British expedition founded first, I think, and then an Argentine one, then British and Argentine. There were some scraps in the 19th century. And then to establish its legitimacy, the Argentine junta sends in troops into the Falklands, and thinking that nobody will bother, and then Margaret Thatcher says, no, actually, I will, and then she says...
Time's up!
This one.
I don't think you got to the end, I think you should drink.
We won.
That was after the time, you're going to drink for that. For the first time ever, we have a picture round.
What?
We do.
So, we're going to give you a picture of 8 white men.
They're right.
Basically. And 3 of them are not British Prime Ministers and the rest are.
Okay.
So we want you to tell us which ones aren't. And
So,
preferably
sorry,
just go through them and tell us who they all
Three of
are.
them are not. So, we have far left Winston Churchill, so top left Winston Churchill, then Ramsay MacDonald, and then a man who was not Prime Minister, then Balfour, I think that is. Bottom right is Alec Douglas Hume, Neville Chamberlain. So the 3 who are not Prime Minister were this bloke, so him,
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
and I mean very much not him.
Do you know
Who these
do you know
three people
who
are?
those people are?
I have a sneaky suspicion that's not Mike Bevan. I don't.
I couldn't tell you who these 2 people are.
However,
This is your
one,
dad.
That's your dad.
That's
Photoshopped.
And we think.
Why?
And we photoshopped.
You have! What have you done?
Bonus point if you can guess whose hair that is that I photoshopped onto it.
Is that JFK?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Well, you have to drink so much red.
No, you have to-
happened.
No, he didn't. No, it was his dad. He guessed
I
that.
guessed it was JFK's hair.
Wow.
Wow.
That was the aim of that picture. Also, but actually, genuinely, so impressive how quickly you named all of the others.
Actually, have you seen it? I don't know if you can get a picture of Lord Liverpool up.
Yes, we can.
He looks weirdly like Graham Chapman.
And put them next to my face.
But
and
also,
see if
you
I-
didn't recognize. Okay, so we have one final question in the information inebriation round.
Yes.
And that is, what chance as a percentage do you think you have of becoming a politician after the release of this episode?
Oh, no idea what the social climate in 30 years will be. This might work to my favour. I'm really down with the kids.
It's true.
In case you can't tell, I'm wearing a corduroy shirt. I sound like a posh man who's been
And I'll tell you what, everyone.
throat singing.
Everyone.
I mean, do we have a baseball cap? I'll wear it backwards.
So what percentage do you reckon?
What percentage? I would say low.
But you know, come on.
Give us a number.
We've got a number here that's...
0.5.
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay, you have to drink for that.
Was that actually the answer?
Less than 5%
Was
was
the
gonna make,
answer,
we were
yeah.
going to drink. Otherwise, if you said more than 5%, you were simply wrong.
Yeah.
No.
And at this
Honestly.
point, we are going to take a break and then come back to you with messy essays, even though we just had a massive break because Ben knocked over a wine glass.
Hi, just your friendly neighbourhood Arthur here, letting you know that when Ben spilt that wine, I very nearly shit my pants. I didn't. But just to get across how scared I was, here's how it felt from my perspective.
Delete.
Delete.
Delete. You will be deleted.
This is my cheesy roll given unto you.
Fuck.
We need to do like the freeze frame high five.
So welcome back, and now we're going to move on to the section that is called Messy Essays.
And this is the chance when you just get to go on drunk and talk about history. A bit like that show Drunk.
We
We can't say
that,
the full
can
name,
we?
can we?
No,
We
we
can't say the
that.
full name, copyright issues.
No.
Not allowed. Not allowed. Drunk history.
We're going to do this one. Okay. So Hegel's... this is a different question. So Hegel says, we learn from history that we do not learn from history.
Yeah.
If this is true, what the fuck even is your degree?
I asked myself this question many times. There are times where
Oh god, that's really sad. I didn't even snigger.
history teaches us nothing, which is true to a degree actually. I think it's problematic to try and look at past historical eras and say, like the fall of the Roman Empire is a big one. Everyone since before Gibbon and since Gibbon has gone, especially morally. Look at this era, look at this moral decline we're in, this is akin to the fall of the Roman Empire, etc. Right up to whenever. To a degree, he's just nothing. But so the question of what even is my degree is what that keeps me awake at night. Here's a song from Horrible History. Yeah, sorry,
We have
fine.
more questions if you're stuck
If
on
you're stuck on that one.
Yeah.
I feel like we reached an
We did
existential
reach a
impasse.
conclusion.
If you had to go back in time and change something so that in the present you were now the Duke of Cambridge, how would you do it? Well, I'm making.
I mean,
For
I'd
instance,
go
you
to-
could be Prince William or you could be married to him.
I'd go to the University of Aberdeen. Was it Aberdeen? No, it wasn't Aberdeen.
St
It was
Andrews.
St Andrews.
St.
It began with A, and it was in Scotland. And I got
Although
very
was that where
confused.
Harry went? To
No,
William?
No,
St.
so
Andrews
William
is
and Kate
Kate.
met in St Andrews, and I would shove Kate off a bridge, and I imagine St Andrews has many.
Bridges.
How would you seduce Prince William?
I use my wiles.
Okay.
I would say, do you know what? So what if it's balding? I find that really attractive in a man, and he'd say, "Oh, I hear that so rarely. Would you marry me?"
Oh.
And would be the progressive party. It would be magical. I'd have looked stunning in Kate's wedding dress.
Would you have worn the same one?
I'd look exactly the same way. So there are different points at which you can set your time. As I say, it could literally be a case of I go back quite a way in history, do phenomenally well in a battle against somebody, and Henry VI, because he's 9 months old, says, "You know what? You did really well in that. I'll make you Duke of Cambridge," and I become Duke of Cambridge. And my heirs,
Nine-month-old.
and my heirs, if we assume Blackadder logic in this, who look
Would
and
that
are,
be you?
yeah, who look and are identical to me, would still be Dukes of Cambridge to this day because they'd have been phenomenally successful.
In the 5th century BC, the
Yeah.
world became round for the first time where it had previously been flat.
It's true.
What would you say are the pros and cons of this decision?
I mean, the pros obviously are the inevitability of getting lost. If you find out, of when you get lost, rather, be able to find your way back to where you were, given infinite time.
Just keep walking.
Just keep walking. Famously, the pear shape was briefly proposed.
Oh, okay.
It was rejected.
How come?
Well, you see, the little knob on the end was thought to be just unsymmetrical. It was very. It just aesthetically.
It threw off the orbit of like
exactly.
the moon.
And the Earth stuff is spinning constantly. It was bizarre. It was a bad move. They tried it, as I say, for like a period of 6 months, and harvests were wrecked. The entire economy went into recession. It was bad.
Yeah. That's why it's actually technically now 2022.
Well, exactly.
But we had to skip those
We
years.
did. Cuboid could have been shaped like I don't know, a face.
Oh, that would have
The face of Brian Blessed.
been.
Or a
Ooh.
potato smiley face? That would be
A
nice.
potato smiley face.
No, that would have been great.
Well, no.
Lots of holes.
Which was the proposition of Saint Germanicus?
I mean, that also you also get still quite a bit of flat Earth if you.
Well,
have
exactly.
smiling, so.
That's the thing. I mean, it's round,
It's happy medium.
but and the hulls, of course, was wrecking shipping. So
Ah.
you'd be sailing across the ocean. I mean, the transatlantic trade was wrecked. It's the reason why the Americas weren't rediscovered until the 15th century, or earlier, depending on whether or not you believe. There was the Viking discovery of North America. There was the Welsh discovery of North America, which I'm like. But no, I mean the flat Earth. Just when it came down to it, was cumbersome. It was. And it just didn't make. It was just You look at the Earth, and the Earth looks flat, and that was. And
It's all
then,
propaganda.
when they really broke it down, that's what it came down to. Was they thought the Earth ought to be flat because the Earth looks flat.
In the end, the sphere.
And in the end, the sphere was just. I mean, it was dull. Yes.
But it was,
But it was
But it's
Practical.
practical and it's stuck.
Yeah.
For the next.
No, you're
2000
right.
For 2,500 years, we've had a spherical Earth.
And we've had no issues.
And we've had no issues.
There's that great horrible history song about it, isn't there?
Which one was that?
That horrible history song about the banana-shaped Earth. Go on.
I didn't watch Horrible
I'm
Histories as a
trying to
child. I
make
wouldn't know.
Ah! Dun 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 dun.
Oh, we love it.
The Earth, it looks round when you see it from space, but from Earth it looks flat. And then you walk, and you keep walking, and you'll never find the edge. But said Columbus, I reckon it's pear-shaped. No one knows why he said that. He was fucking mental. I'm gonna find America. And the people in Spain, they said, no, you're mental. And actually, in fairness, they were right. And he sailed. He sailed to America. And here we enter a complicated part of history where he could be or not. Maybe he oppressed the natives who didn't. I'm not prepared to get in this argument while drunk. That's what.
Okay, so next question.
Yes.
Because Arthur is indecisive. In the War of the Roses,
Yes.
how did anyone tell the difference between white and red? Because surely everything was in black and white back then.
Well, that's interesting. So the black and white phenomenon only came along with the advent of film. So prior to the 19th century, everything was in fact painted in oils. There are various different phases. So for example, in the sort of the middle medieval periods, we're talking from sort of Norman conquest onwards, maybe till about the 15th century. Everyone viewed the world in tapestry. And then you get into sort of the 15th century, you have sort of this portrait painting coming in. The oldest painting in the British National Gallery, in fact, is of Henry VII, who, I don't know if we're allowed to have favourite kings as a serious historian, such as I am, as you can see, but Henry VII is my absolute boy.
Yay!
In the British court, you've got Holbein, who really refines it, so people are actually seeing not quite high definition. It's in the 19th century with people like Daguerre, the Frenchman, who invents the Daguerre type, obviously, that people's vision reverts all the way back to being in black and white. I know, and it's not until about the 50s, 60s that people start to see colour again.
I've always wondered, how could a caveman kill a mammoth? But those mammoths are like the same size as the caveman.
They're really small.
Yeah, in the drawings, and that's how
Exactly.
people saw each other. I'm
That's the
thinking in
thing.
nowadays
That's how they
terms, you know
saw
what I mean?
Yeah.
They
Obviously,
threw a spear at it and
if
it
a
kills
mammoth,
it.
if a mammoth
Yeah.
came along now, it would absolutely destroy us because, of course, we have digital photography, and so we
exactly.
can see
No,
that the
but
mammoth
they just had cave paintings.
is much larger than we are. So, of course, but when you've got a
Therefore,
cave
their
painting,
perspective was warped. So
exactly,
the mammoth was terrified of men.
mammoths were actually like only yay high back in actual Stone Age.
Wait, hang on.
It's only since the advent of digital photography.
Whereabouts on me?
Bear in mind,
Whereabouts
Arthur is
are you?
6'4".
Very
That's
much. It's probably out of frame right now.
Very important to
Bearing in
mention
mind,
that.
bearing in mind that I am about 5'11".
And I'm very much 5'4".
I would say your average mammoth.
We don't stand up much, do we?
Your average mammoth, you're looking at about
definitely.
5'5", 6".
Five.
So what I'm saying is like dangerous in the same way as like
As a big dog.
a big dog, or
Yeah.
like I don't know, like raccoons in America. Are
Like
dangerous.
like a
very
mutant.
small, or a wolverine, or
Yeah.
like something really small.
Claw your eyes out.
Exactly.
You know, we are not the top of the food chain. We are polar bears. Naturally, we are there to
Well,
ride.
Paul, do you want to know a fun anecdote? Like the 8 times great grandson of Horatio Lord Nelson, obviously Victor at the Battle of Trafalgar.
Obviously.
I say Victor, he also got shot. Was actually killed by a polar bear. He was like our age, like younger. He was
Younger
about
than us,
16,
yeah.
16, 17.
Wait, and they went on a school trip and he
He went on a school
got
trip
killed
to
by a
North
polar
Pole
bear.
and he was killed. He was
Yeah, because
attacked
there
and
are
killed by
only
a polar
there are
bear
predators.
in his tent.
Confused. Who are we
They
talking
also have
about?
black skin.
We're talking about Horatio
Yeah, they do.
Nelson.
I thought he was important in history. How was he only
No.
our
No.
age?
Has anyone else drunk any of this?
Not that one.
No, you've trunk that.
That's
And
all.
also a little bit of mine.
Are you sure you want more?
That is all me. No, oh, no. Do you have one more question?
Final
We have
question.
one more question.
Is there really only one more?
There's only one more.
Out of the three of us, who is going to go down in history, and why?
Alongside, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and those sorts.
Yeah, exactly. Much as I would like to think we all are. Just for...
That's very nice.
That's nice. That is
I know.
nice.
Statistically, historically, a lot of people have thought they were going to go down in history. The vast majority of them, we have no recollection of them saying that. But that's sort of the point I'm trying to make.
So by saying that we definitely want to go down in history, does that
Oh,
mean
do
we
you?
won't?
I'm going to turn this interview around. Do you want to go down in history?
Totally.
I have an answer. Absolutely
My answer
not.
is totally.
Absolutely not.
My answer is totally.
Well, let's dissect.
I want to go down in
Let's
history.
dissect these. The tables have turned.
I personally,
Yeah.
I think that people go down in history for the bad things that they do.
Well,
if I don't go down in
okay.
history, then I know it's easy to be it's easy to do a very great thing.
Yeah.
It's harder to be a solidly decent man.
It depends on the sort of history you're trying to create for yourself. If you're trying to create the sort of history that historians will debate over, it's very useful to create a legend and then leave a sort of a vague, well, not less vague, but a sort of a remnant of humanity sort of lying under that veneer.
Okay, so follow-up question. If you were going to leave a mystery for historians in order to go down in history, what mystery would you leave?
I think the greatest mystery you can leave behind is trying to work out exactly what sort of a person you are.
Like Alan, not Alan.
We're going to say Alan Shearer. I've met him in a Chinese restaurant.
You met
Hi,
him?
Alan.
Alan Sugar.
No, Alan Shearer.
Alan Turing is actually what I said.
And none of those 3 people will be watching this video.
I met
so I
Alan
think we're
Shearer.
good.
Hello.
You guys are a legend.
Hello, Alan Sugar.
Ben, you're fired.
What have we learned today, Olivia?
Okay, so we've learnt that.
We actually learned quite a lot.
We've learnt a lot. So much that
I
I
apologise.
can't even potentially even consider what we've learnt. We've learnt that
So
the
what-
Earth was flat for a long time. And then some guy came and discovered that it was round, but that was really impractical, but also pear-shaped was more impractical, so we went with round.
Yeah.
I apologise so much for all this learning. I can,
You've taught us so much.
you came here to be entertained, and I have taught you. I have taught you bollocks, but I have taught you nonetheless.
And on that note, thanks, Ben.
It's alright. Good night.
Good night.
Stay safe, Internet. My friend Billy has a 10-foot willy.
Ooh.
Hi. Fire!
Something different now.